Everyone, Phil Snyder with GunClassUtah.com. Today's video is going to be on the question, can I have a Utah concealed firearm permit and a Utah cannabis card? Y'all are keeping us really busy with all of your questions and requests for videos, and this particular question comes up quite a bit in the concealed carry classes. I suspected that there would be a conflict with this, but I wanted to call BCI, and these are the entities with the state that license you for the firearm permits, for clarification. And when I spoke with them a while ago, they essentially said that as long as cannabis is illegal at the federal level, their stance on that is if they learn that you have a card and you have a firearm permit, they will revoke that. And if that is disclosed to them in some way, whether that is a self-disclosure or some referral from law enforcement, something like that, or some other report, they will not issue one. They did tell me a funny story about a lady that attached her medical cannabis card to her Utah concealed firearm application and it was denied. They also stated that they do not ask on the concealed firearm permit application if you are a medical user, and they probably don't because that is private medical information between you and your doctor. So as long as cannabis is illegal at the federal level, there will always be this conflict with federal law. That's probably why law enforcement officers in Utah are not allowed to have cannabis cards, because carrying a gun is part of their duties. I know law enforcement advocates have petitioned the legislature for changes in the law, but it's a big no, and those efforts have failed. However, they will let dispatchers have medical cards because they don't carry guns as part of their duties. It's very interesting, though, because there is a legal conflict with Utah Title 76-10-528, and that statute, if you want to pull that up on the le.utah.gov website, and in the search box, type in Title 76-10-528, and that crime is carrying a dangerous weapon while intoxicated. So it's very interesting because under that statute, there is an affirmative defense to that charge if you are a medical cannabis card holder and you're carrying, even under the influence of cannabis, if you have a medical card or other prescription of some other controlled substance and you don't pose a danger to other people while you're doing that. So very interesting conflict, and maybe someday somebody will challenge that and bring that to the attention. But for right now, the way it stands, that's the problem. How do they find out that you have a medical marijuana card and a firearm permit? Well, one way would be through a law enforcement contact or investigation. For example, a traffic stop. Let's say you have medical cannabis in your car when you're stopped by a law enforcement officer, and you show them your card so you don't get a ticket or arrested for cannabis, and then that officer, when they run your driver's license, it will pull up on their screen that you have a concealed firearm permit. What's to prevent that officer from forwarding a report to BCI stating that you have both? Maybe that officer has personal opinions about that or something like that. That would be one way. Another situation that could come to the attention of somebody is, let's say that somebody you know, like maybe you've got an ex-wife that's scorned, and she was aware of this law and of the conflict, and maybe she reported you to the feds or something like that, or to BCI to have your permit revoked. Something also to be aware of, because it is illegal at the federal level, you are considered by the feds with a medical marijuana card to be a restricted person from owning or possessing a handgun under federal law, section 922 of the statute. As long as you have that card and you have a firearm, that's a conflict with federal law. You can't even go in there to an FFL dealer and buy a handgun with a medical marijuana card, because there's a question on there that states if you have a medical marijuana card or if you're some other unlawful user, that you can't buy a handgun. They will turn you down if you answer that question truthfully. And if you lie on that form, that is what they call a straw purchase. And a straw purchase is when you make a false statement on that FFL form, or this is buying a gun through a gun dealer, on that Brady form that you fill out, and you make a false statement and you answer no when you are a medical cannabis card holder. That's some pretty serious prison time that you could get, and some pretty hefty fines as well. So if you allow somebody access to your firearm that's in your home and they're a medical cannabis holder and you are not, you still have legal issues from that could be a problem. I would be curious for anybody that's watching this video that lives outside of Utah if that is a similar policy or not. Please comment in the video and let me know. Thanks for watching.